what we're going to do today is we're over here at Superior Seafood. We're going to teach you how to do a proper yield test on how to cut fish. We're going to be working with black cod today, and we're going to start off with how to start off your yield test, then how to cut it, then how to figure out the yield.
Hey guys, okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your scale is zeroed out, and then put the fish on the scale that you want to weigh and get your beginning weight. Once you get that beginning weight, write it down so you've got it, so when you finish the cutting, you've got your start weight. Okay, now that we've got the fish weighed and we're ready to start cutting, you'll notice here that when you start filleting out the fish, you're going to start with a cut behind the gill plate, around the pectoral fin, and start running the knife down the spine through the backbone. You're going to keep the knife on top of the spine on this side of the fillet, and you're going to use the tip of your knife to start filleting out the fish, keeping it as close to the bone as you possibly can to increase your yield. You want as much meat on the fillet, obviously, than you do on the carcass. So use a really sharp knife and just short little cuts at a time. You'll notice that this knife is very sharp. He really doesn't have to put much pressure on it at all. But once again, a very sharp knife, and start working it towards the belly and then off the tail. As he flips it over, he's going to do the same thing. He'll start the initial cut behind the gill plate, around the pectoral fin, just down to the center spine, and then he'll come back down to the tail and start working that knife on the top of the spine bone, and working his knife down towards the rib cage, pulling the fillet away from the knife. Careful not to damage the fillet. And you notice as he's doing it, he's just using the tip of his knife. And then just peeling it right off the tail that way. Now that he's got the fillets cut off the carcass, he's going to go ahead and put the carcass off to the side and start trimming up the bellies. You'll notice now he's using the flat part of his knife to start trimming the membrane off the belly, pulling off just a little bit at a time, leaving as much meat as he can on the fillet, getting the optimum amount of membrane off there to increase the yield. Does the same thing on the other fillet. As he's trimming, careful not to cut too much meat off, and there you go. Two beautifully cut fillets. Now that you've got the fish filleted out, you're going to come up to the scale and weigh the finished fillets to get your finished weight. That now you can start doing the yield test to do your calculations to figure out how good of a cut job you did. So we'll discuss that here in just a second. Okay, so now that we've got our finished weight, and we're going to do our calculations now to figure out what our yield is on this particular fish. You're going to take your finished fillet weight, and which came out to, I believe, 2.20 pounds, and you're going to divide that by the beginning weight, which was 5.15 pounds. In doing that, you're going to come up with a 42.71% yield on this particular fish. This particular fish should have been around a 45 to 46%, but if you noticed on the belly, it was kind of full on the inside, so that's going to bring your yield down. Unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about that, but this video training was to show you how to cut a yield. And so take your finished weight, divide it by your beginning weight to come up with your yield. And that's where it comes in at 42.72%.